Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today I have a few articles I want to go over with you that I think are really interesting, and they pertain to New York Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her possible 2028 presidential campaign. Now I know when you hear me say that, I'm sure you have immediate reactions right away, and I certainly do as well, but I do want to give this a fair read and fair shake because I think this actually could be very interesting. So I first saw this article on Twitter from Yahoo, and this is how the article begins. With the speculation about the presidential election of 2028 slowly building, one name keeps popping up: Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The outspoken Congresswoman representing New York, according to The Hill, Democratic strategists are increasingly talking about the potential of Ocasio-Cortez to reform the party's future and energize its base. Quote, "She's somebody who can cut through the noise and doesn't talk like Washington," said one Democratic strategist. They highlighted her knack to cut through the BS and tell it like it is, one held dear by both young and more progressive audiences. Ocasio-Cortez, who burst onto the national stage when she defeated 10-term incumbent in the 2018 Democratic primary, is now a household name. With the use of social media platforms such as Instagram and Twitter, AOC has shown an ability to connect directly with voters by bypassing traditional media channels. Democrats believe that this grassroots communication strategy could be a key asset in 2028, particularly among younger voters who are often disillusioned by traditional political messaging. Her appearances on popular podcasts and her adept use of digital platforms, have already cemented her as a leading voice in progressive politics. But a presidential run would not be without its hurdles. Ocasio-Cortez would have to broaden her appeal beyond progressive strongholds and into more moderate independent voters in key swing states. But to many in her party, she is a new face who can help energize the Democratic base. Although AOC has not yet given any indication of what she will do in 2028, her influence in the party and ability to move political conversations make her someone to pay attention to. AOC is only 39 years old. In 2028, she would meet the minimum age requirement of the Constitution, thus making her a young and energetic option in this race. So this is very fascinating. And yes, AOC is currently a House of Representative member, but the question of whether or not she will seek the highest office is starting to gain more and more traction. And before talking more in depth, I do want to go over one specific thing mentioned in this article by the Times of India by a former Trump administration, Tim Burchett. But before I get to that, I do also want to point out that former Congressman Matt Gaetz did tweet about this news, saying she has been saying she was run in 2028 since about 2019. Now, I'm not sure, of course, if this is 100% true, because obviously Gaetz in the building with her and none of us are, but still, that could potentially be something very interesting as well. But this is what really is a very fascinating part of this. Tim Burchett, a former Trump administration official from the first administration, said, quote, "Quit underestimating our opponents. That's how we got Carter, Clinton, Obama, and Biden," in response to the news that AOC could be running for president. And this is where things get very fascinating to me. Right now in the Democratic primaries polls, and I'll show you on the Wikipedia one as well, that right now, actually let me just go to the Wikipedia one first. Right now, Kamala Harris does have a lead over the Democratic primary. And I've done a video explaining this, why I don't think this is necessarily going to last. The candidate who is just on the top of the ticket almost always leads the immediate polls following the election, because Democratic primary voters, Republican primary voters, these are typically the people who are the most diehard members of the party. And these are the people that live, breathe, and really are very focused on this type of stuff. Of most of these people, the only one with national name recognition right now is probably Kamala Harris. She's the Vice President of the United States, and she was just on the ballot in every single state in the United States, and she got a lot of people voting for her as well. That is Pennsylvania. Only go to the nationwide one right now. Kamala Harris got 74.4 million votes across the entire country. Yes, Donald Trump did win the election, 312 to 226 in an electoral college landslide, but still, Kamala Harris did get a significant number of votes. So AOC, if she wants to run, her biggest problem is going to be trying to take the top spot away from Kamala Harris. But there is a very interesting strategic element to this, which is, if you notice, Harris is leading in the Emerson College poll by 37%. None of the other candidates get even close to her. But undecided is 35%, other is 17%. When you look at Echelon Heights poll, Harris has 41%, 16% other, 16% undecided. Once again, a sizable percent of people do not support Harris. Morning Consult, something similar. 27% support another candidate other than Harris. So there is actually a bit of an opening for a Democrat like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to potentially gain steam and maybe be able to make a significant impact in a Democratic primary. Which may sound crazy to many of you, and I won't lie, it does sound a little bit crazy to me, but stranger things have happened. And in the article, the mention of AOC being authentic and telling it like it is, and in a way that it appeals to primary voters, well, being frank, who does that sound like? I mean, this is not too hard. That's the same things that were talked about for Donald Trump, was his ability to tell it like it is and to not sound like a politician and just say what they're feeling. That's exactly what Trump does, and they're making the comparison that maybe AOC could also do that. The one advantage AOC has in this situation, if she does want to run, is that unless Kamala Harris runs, and even if she does, it still might be a wide open field with several candidates. I think AOC's chances of winning are not the highest of all the candidates, but I do think if Harris does not run, she does have a higher chance of winning. As I can't rule out the fact that Harris runs again, and there will be a very contested primary, but she has the mantle of being the VP who's just on top of the ticket. Yes, she did lose the election, but that still will get a pretty sizable support out of the gate. If Harris does not run, then it's a completely wide open field, which opens the lanes for someone like AOC to come up and win. And I know the argument will be made that she's too far to the left, that she won't be able to win a Democratic primary, but to be quite honest with you, primaries are very winnable if the right candidate gets good momentum and catches fire. We saw that in 2016 with Donald Trump. A lot of people forget this now because obviously Donald Trump has turned into this political electoral juggernaut. In 2016, when Donald Trump first announced, the highest he was polling was 2 to 3% and likely around 10th or 11th place in the polls. He started to surge going into the first debate, but Donald Trump did not start off with very high support. His support grew over time, and going into the first debate, he was still actually just behind Jeb Bush, depending on the poll you looked at. And I think 2028 in the Democratic primary is going to look more like a 2016 in the Republican primary than a 2020 for the Democrats. I think this is going to be a wide open race, and given that, I think it's possible for any candidate to catch fire. The one advantage Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has is, aside from Kamala Harris, she probably has the highest name recognition of all the potential candidates. Gavin Newsom has been getting a lot of attention lately in the news media, of course being the governor of California, but AOC has also been very outspoken online, especially on social media, with younger voters. And that could potentially give her an added boost that a lot of the other Democratic candidates don't have. So just like Tim Burkett said in his tweet, I'm not saying AOC 100% is running in 2028, or that even if she does run, she will win. But I don't think the idea of counting her out saying she can't win, I don't think that is something very smart to do right now, especially for Republicans and more moderate Democrats. Because don't forget, AOC started her political career by defeating a long-term Democratic incumbent. So I wouldn't rule out her political ability to make waves and potentially win. I don't think she starts out as the favorite, but I do think it would be a very, very interesting, fascinating situation to watch going forward. And of course, at the end of the day, it all comes down to the electoral map in 2028, which the question for the Democrats are asking likely is which Democratic candidate is most likely to get 270 out of the 538 electoral votes. AOC, of course, comes from the state of California. Well, to be honest, what is a California, or not California, excuse me, what is a representative from New York? AOC is from New York. What appeal will she have in places like Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania? Is AOC capable of doing this? Well, given her background, the answer would probably be no, given her progressive policies and the fact that she's from New York. But, I mean, stranger things have happened. It's certainly possible. I mean, Joe Biden's from the state of Delaware, but yes, he was able to win Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Would the Democrats be more likely to win these three states had they run someone like Gretchen Whitmer or Josh Shapiro? Maybe. But again, this is going to be ways away, so there's plenty of time for this to go. but just the idea of AOC running is something that I think Democrats and Republicans alike have to take seriously. And as Tim Burgett said, underestimating her could be potentially both Republicans and Democrats' detriment. So this is a very, very fascinating situation and something I am monitoring going forward. That'll do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like this video, click subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you in a future video. That will do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to give it a like. And if you really liked it, please remember to click the subscribe button. And make sure you turn post notifications on so you always get notified when I post a new video. That way you never miss one. Also, please remember to share this video with your friends and family if you really like the video. And remember to stay tuned because I'll be posting at least one video every single day leading up until Election Day. So I'd really appreciate it if you keep coming back and watching those videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in a future video.